So this is going to be just a highlight video of all the good hunts, memorable hunts, great footage, and good times I've had over the past season. And I'm basically going to show a clip and then describe what happened that hunt and how it went and what I liked about the day, what I didn't like, stuff like that. And then you'll see another clip and same thing until the end of the video. Alright, so this first one, I had brought my grandma's mom's 410 double barrel double trigger to North Dakota early goose because I figured, I wanted to kill a goose with it and the feathers would be the thinnest that time of year in August. So brought it with and shot a couple times at geese over the decoys and just couldn't hit it. And I've patterned it once and it shoots high, like 6 inches high, kind of high. And I don't know, I just couldn't hit them. So then one of my buddies left at a day or two by myself, and I ended up sneaking up on some and got to about 30 yards. And I mean, that you see the shot, it freaking smoked it. I was impressed. It is tungsten number 9 shot. It's actually a turkey load because that's all I could find that'd be illegal for waterfall. But it crushed it, so that was kind of cool. But I was so happy to finally get one with that. Alright, that was just a video of a decoy spread on a cattle pond, North Dakota. I don't know if you know me, something about me, I just love cattle ponds, early season especially, and just that was one of my favorite spreads I set over water, and it was a loaf pond, I thought it looked great. That was a 4-pack that came in and went 3 for 3. That was a really weird deal because I was hunting the feed solo. There had been about 100, 150 in there for 2 days in a row, 2 nights, and then hunted it the next morning, and that was the only 4-pack that came anywhere near me, and that was it. Kind of sucked, but had a cool hide. It was in between 2 hay bales, so that was kind of cool. This was after that cattle pond hunt, actually, in North Dakota. Some geese landed on this public waters behind me, and I snuck up on them, and I threw this in there because I think this was one of the, for sure, cleanest triples on a jump shoot that I've ever had, but it was a pretty clean triple, so I threw that in there for that reason. This was with my good buddy Hunter Crawl, Jordan, and Diesel. We had 2 6-packs come in that day that we wiped them all out. I know I only shot twice, and I'm pretty sure Jordan only shot twice too. So it was really clean and wiped them all out. Just a good footage, good flocking, good times.
Kill him.
This was probably one of the coolest hunts in North Dakota because I actually saw some guys one night watching birds. I was also watching because I had permission on the feed they're going to, and talked to them, and they turned out to be the group of wing chaser outdoors boys from Kansas that run a big guide service with lodging and everything. So if you ever want to go to Kansas, shoot specks, snows, ducks, or lessers, get a hold of them. But had a good time, and this flock we ran them out pretty good, so that was fun, and glad I met some new guys and we had a good time. So this was one of my first solo hunts in North Dakota. The feeds this year for the first week, I was there for 2 weeks. The feeds this year for the first week at least were way smaller than the year before. It was like 50, 60 bird feeds instead of 100 150, but this was about a 50, 60 bird feed. I only had 2 flocks come in, I think, that morning, and that was the better of the 2, and I tripled, and just some good footage, and they did it pretty good for a no wind, only a 60 bird feed.
Yeah. Where? Kill him right above us. Oh!
This was with my childhood best friend, Cole, and then my other buddy, Jacob. Cole I've known since before kindergarten, since we were 4. We started playing T-ball together and ended up hunting together, and we've been friends ever since. But it's just kind of a funny clip, honestly, because we had guys that were also in the field. I'm not going to get into that. If you want to hear about that story, watch the pile of birds that are on top of the 2 hay bales from North Dakota video that's on my channel. And they were leaving, actually, and there's 7 of them, and they had a 2-pack come in with their truck and trailer in the decoys picking up, and they only got 1 somehow. And then this one ended up coming over, and I crushed him, like right here, crushed him. And then Cole had already shot right as I hit him, like, you know how that goes, and he hit him in the back after I already crushed him. And that was the closest I've ever came to taking one's head completely off. It was hanging by a couple strings. If that would have came off, that would have been so cool. But just one of my most memorable clips. And the reason why it was so funny is because if you watch the video, I yelled at Jacob because he opened his blind. I'm like, get down! And then he came in, and then you can hear him at the end go, well, good thing we got down. So it's just kind of a funny deal.
Ready?
Yep.
I know this ain't the best footage, but this was my good buddy Cade Francine, and it wasn't a really hot and heavy day. It was kind of just singles. I think we ended up with 5 geese and 3 wood ducks, and I don't know, I just like that footage because, for one, that little flip he does at the end was kind of cooler before I shot him, and then you can, also the shot, you can see like the whole pattern hit him. That's kind of cool. And then obviously I like the splash, so that was cool. And then Cade's creepy little laugh at the end was kind of funny, so that's why I threw that in here.
Shoot him. Yeah.
This was the same day as the last clip. Just want to throw this in here for buddy hunts. I want to talk about that. Like, if you have a feed that you know you're not going to shoot your limit, it's not all about limits. Go out there and have fun. Like, we didn't shoot our limits that day, and we had a great time. Like, taking turns shooting singles, that's to me, that's as fun as shooting your limit. It's fun to, you know, if they miss, it's fun to rip on them, or if they smoke them, it's fun to talk about it. So it's always a good time when you can get out, and even if you just shoot 1 bird, it's always a good time. So if you got a smaller feed or something, or you might only shoot 1 bird, go out there and do it, because it's better than doing anything else, in my opinion.
Huh? That's 1 dead crow. Little crow action. Went. Oh, hold on, don't move, don't move. Surprise, buddy!
These are the 3 clips of me that I got of shooting crows, duck, or goose hunting this fall. I always say if I get a chance at a crow and there ain't a goose or duck coming in, I take it, because I don't like them things. They're bad for other birds. They eat their eggs and babies, and they're just, I don't know, an evil little bird, and they're so annoying during turkey season especially. They'll sit right above you and caw, 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 caw the whole time. So I take my anger out on them when I can. So hope you enjoyed those for a little laughter.
Go up! Ready, Gary? Gary?
This, I think, was my 2nd time ever guiding with clients. We shot into 300 birds that day. Our shooting was just terrible. As you can see, we had flocks through it between 35 and 20 yards, multiple flocks. Just, we did not shoot good. We ended up with 10 for the day with, I think it was 5 or 6 guys, so it wasn't very good shooting, but we definitely should have had at least a 20 stack. So it was, but the clients were happy, and it was a great time. So that's why I threw that in there. And that first clip is pretty good footage. Obviously this isn't a goose or a duck, but I threw this in here because it was the only pheasant I have on footage of me shooting this year, and the only reason I filmed it was because it was still warm out. It was early season, and figured if there's one in there, it's a short walk, and be my best chance of the year to get some footage of a pheasant being shot. And as you can see, 3 roosters actually got up. So first the far one got up, and that spot is known for them getting up too far to shoot at. So the far one got up, so I shot at it. Well, then 2 were right in front of me. They got up, and the one that flew left, I saw the bird when I shot at the one on the right, but I didn't know what it was, so I looked at the footage, but I smoked the one on the right on my second shot. But it's kind of funny. Originally, we were going down, we made it about 60 yards, and I looked down, and they were out in the field, and then I grabbed the dog and snuck down there and cut in, and they basically got up right there, so that was kind of cool, and I smoked them. But that was great having the footage for that one, because for one, I smoked it, and for 2, that close bird that went left, I had no idea what that was until I looked at the footage, and turns out it was a rooster, so wish I would have hit that first one and at least got the second, but can't complain when you get any pheasants, because they're not super populated around Minnesota area that I'm in.
Kill him.
This was a memorable hunt because it was the very first place I ever goose hunted, and it's a low pond, cattle pond, you know how I like them. And it was with my good buddy Winston Janu, and we had some terrible shooting to start that day off, but that flock really made up for it. I went 4 for 4, and Winston got 2 for 4. So we got 6 out of that flock, and I mean, they did it dirty, so that was great. And that day, actually, we ended up with our 2 manna ducks, geese. Winston got his fall turkey. We shot a snipe and a dove, and I think 2 pigeons. So it was a crazy day. This is one of my favorite clips, and honestly one of my favorite hunts of the year. The reason why it's one of my favorite clips is, for one, it's awesome footage, I think, and for 2, I tripled, and for 3, I was with my buddy Tanner, who's also my boss, and we sitting there for a while, and wasn't expecting nothing to fly till about 9. It was like 8:30, and Tanner had to go take a poop, so he went to the gas station, and he was coming over the bridge as this flock came into me, and he didn't see me shoot, but he saw the birds flare from me shoot. So it was kind of funny because he got back and he's like, man, I was right on the bridge when you started shooting. And then the next flock that came in, which is also in here, well, you'll see.
Should we let him land or should we shoot him? Ready? Go.
Nice.
Thank you.
Oh shit, there's one right there. Oh fuck, look at them all on the ground. Look at that one. Fuck. Oh shit, there's one running across the field over there.
Obviously, this was the same field as the last video, but Tanner's back now, and they all started coming kind of at once, about 20 seconds behind each other, and we could have shot at like 2 flocks before this one, and then finally this one just locked and hooked and came right in just like the prior clip, and I think we shot 4 or 5 out of the air, and then Tanner goes, oh, look at them all. There's 3 in the decoys, so we ended up out of 2 flocks, shot our 2 man, a geese, and it was in a snowstorm, and it was just real local, close to where I live, and it was just an awesome hunt. They did it so dirty. It was awesome.
Go! Nice shot, Aubrey. Go!
These 2 clips were some of my favorites also. I guess I got a lot of favorites, but it was probably one of the windiest days I hunted last year, and there was a lot of snow, and it was cold, and there was 4 of us, and we were on a tree line, and it was actually the traffic bean field that you've seen the videos of. If you haven't, you can go check them out. But they would get up off the roost, which was like 2 miles away probably. They got to the very end of the field, and it's a huge field, so we'd see them, and it took forever for them to get to us. They just crawl and crawl and crawl, and they finally sucked in. It was awesome.
Stand up and shoot him.
This was also in that traffic bean field, I think the day after the last video, but I don't know, I just like the way this flock came over those trees and we shot them at that angle. I think the footage is pretty cool, and the reason I was talking so weird in that, well, I talk weird anyway, I kind of mumble a lot if you can't tell, but I have a shell in my mouth a lot of times because I try to get that fourth round in. Sometimes I can pull off a quadruple, or sometimes I'll shoot 2 for 3, and then I get a third one by doing that, so that's why I was talking so weird, but just love the way they came over those trees in that footage. Alright, sit up and shoot one. Watch out for the swans. Geese everywhere! This was my last guided hunt I did of the year. Just had one client. I actually took him out turkey hunting, and he wanted to try some geese and possibly some duck hunting because I told him that was my favorite and it's probably what I was the best at. And finally got him out. It took me until December to make an arrangement with him. We were both pretty busy, but most memorable hunt probably the swans. We had a 3-pack of swans come and land at like 10 feet. It was crazy. And there was a fourth one actually that flew over your head and just the wings were so loud. And then his gun actually clicked when I told him to start shooting because we let a lot land. And so then I one-handed it and I got 2 for 3. And he did get a shot off, but they were pretty far. But just so cool seeing all those swans did it and just watching geese walk around at 10 feet for a while. Uh-oh, hold on. Kill him!
Oh, we get them both?
Yeah!
Yeah, good shit.
This hunt was also in that field I did the guided hunt in the past video, but it's with my good buddy Joey Johnson, and one of my favorite clips just because of our celebration and how the two came in. They're just screaming, honking the whole way in, and then when I said uh-oh, I got really worried because it looked like they're gonna hook the wrong way, but they ended up hooking into us, so it was perfect. And just great little 2-pack who did it dirty.
How high are we talking?
Like right there. Same field still. This goose was kind of a weird deal because I saw it way off in the distance, like way ahead of time, and I honestly thought it was some kind of predatory bird. It looked like it was soaring, and then all of a sudden it got to like 150 yards out, and I was like, holy crap, it's a goose. So I got down quick, and Joey never saw it. And then all of a sudden it dropped in and just got the GoPro on in time. And then the shot was weird too. I smoked it if you zoom in on slow-mo, and it went and then it just went down, and then it fell on his belly and head on his back, just died. It was really weird. It was like a delayed death. This was also one of my favorite memorable hunts. I was out in Wisconsin with the idea of just scouting for the day. It was really cold. It was around 0 or even colder, and found some birds on water finally after scouting all morning, and it was about 11:20 at this time. And I found the closest, biggest field to the water with a hill on it. And it had snowed about a tiny bit, just a little bit overnight. And I could see where stuff had been scraping out there, but it could have been a deer or goose, could have been anything. But I figured it was a goose, or at least I hoped it was. Went and asked, got permission, and drove around a little more, came back, and there was like 20, 30 geese in the field, so I was like, holy crap. And, of course, I had my decoys on me because I don't know, I just leave them in there when I'm scouting, and I'm like, well, I might as well just set up because you can only shoot 3 geese in Wisconsin anyway. So I drive out there real quick. I had 6 dozen silos and about 40 full bodies. I didn't even throw the silos out, just threw out the full bodies. Got down, wasn't 10 minutes, and this flock came in. And that goose, I only got that one goose out of this flock, but it was a quill, and it was awesome. And I think if you watch closely, I think I missed the other 2 I shot in front of them. I think they're that close that I shot in front of them. But just real cool. Shot my limit in about half hour, got out of there, and continued scouting. It was just a sweet ordeal. Couldn't have asked for anything better that day because I wasn't even planning on goose hunting. I was planning on just scouting, and then that happened. This is the end of part 1, 2023 fall Canada goose only highlight video. If you liked the video, like and subscribe, and part 2 / the final part will be coming next.